Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. It is Thankful Thursday. I am thankful for each of you that are with us in the Java Cafe. It is Thankful Thursday, and we're going to speak with a young man with whom because I'm thankful that he's here, because as I said in the post, he went to advocate for himself at the Carmen's union office and had the police called on him. And I have not spoke with the Carmen's union. I don't know whether to say as of yet. If they reach out, maybe, but hopefully he'll be able to give us some updates since this situation has happened. I will share with you very early. We are going to show the video of his interaction, and there is, to the mother's board that, our seniors and folks, and, there is some interesting language in this video, but we wanted you to be aware of this situation and to also chat with him about the whole ordeal and mental health impact and just being a Black man with the police being called on him and words like intimidation. He was called out of his name and things like that. And so we're going to chat with him in just a few moments. He is here in the background virtual studio. I'm just going to wait to see him back on camera before I show the video. So while we're waiting for him to get back on camera, I'm going to go in and say good morning to folks that are in the room this morning. Naraki, beautiful, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Pastor Marion, good to see you in the room. Tanya, good morning. Tanya, we rebooked ST for this coming Monday for sure at 9 a.m. He will be here, and it's going to be awesome. Also, Opal is in the room. Good morning. Good to see you in the room. Mama Java, good morning to you. See you later. Dr. Drumright, good to see you in the room, sir, from Tennessee. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Marcus, I was really getting ready. I was trying to figure out how to try to type and tag you, but please go ahead and share this with your other brothers and sisters in the T. Thank you for you guys' service and keeping us going, and essential employees that were out there, getting them to work and things like that. Ramilda, good morning to you. Roro, good to see you in the room. And Ramilda, everyone share. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you. You all go ahead and share this, because we do want to give this brother the attention he deserves, because by what I saw in the video, if it was me, it would be, it's just very interesting to deal with that threat and things like that. And so we're getting ready to bring him into the room, and we're going to introduce him. And then right after that, Sharon Cornelius, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning, as well as Rena. So we're getting ready to bring this brother into the room and chat with him for a couple of seconds, and then we're going to show the video. As I said, there is some interesting language in the video, and so I'm just giving you warning there. And I don't know how to go in and do the little 7-second bleep thing with the cussing that the person was doing. But anyway, Armani, good morning, sir. Interesting, and hate the reason why I reached out and invited you. And at the same time, Marcus was advocating, to have you come on the show. And so I seen the video and then got the tag from him and Cindy, and I'm just like, wow. So sir, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to show the video.
So good morning, everybody. Appreciate you, Java, for bringing me on here. My name is Armani Marsman. Born in Boston, raised in Atlanta. Now I'm back here. 9 years with the Carmen's Union. at the MBTA. Went to school for criminal justice.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So, you know, and I drive a tow truck, so that's probably why people see me out here too. So, so I got a lot of things going on.
You said tow truck?
Yeah.
You might not, but how you go from serving the people on the MBTA to being a tow truck driver? You know, that's kind of different.
So I got started in the tow trucks. I always had a passion for it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Being around vehicles, and sometimes it's a balance. You have to hurt people sometimes, but sometimes you help people. You know what I'm saying? So it's a balance.
And let me just be clear, because of the nature of some of this stuff in the video, when you said hurt people, you did not mean physically.
No, not
the fact that you had to tow their car. No, I know. But trolls that are going to be watching, and I got to give a special shout out to my sister, who's an MBTA bus driver as well. Misha, put in there what yard you out of. Y'all might know each other. I don't know.
I know Mattel.
Oh, that's my baby sister, man. So it's definitely there's definitely a different level of attention, because I know a lot of T drivers, and just the fact that you're a black man and went through that. So been here for 9 years, have an affinity for tow trucks and also servicing the people on the T. And so we're going to go ahead and show this. He might have got, so the interesting thing, and y'all know how this goes, folks see you on Facebook and then they start calling. So Armani, if you can still hear in the background, you might have to put your do not disturb on. There he goes. You might have to put your do not disturb on, because everybody tries to start texting and emailing, and we're going to get him back in 2 seconds, but I don't want to show the video until he is back in. Okay, there he goes. There you go. All right. I know everybody probably started texting and calling. Yo, I see you on Facebook. No kidding, bro. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share this video, folks. And again, please excuse the language in there, and we will be right back with you.
Call the police. Fuck you. Get the fucking police. Call them. You're not gonna come in here and intimidate people. Get the police. Let's go. Let's go. Call the police. Let's go. Go call the police. Call the police. Go ahead. No. Call them. You're not gonna come in here and intimidate me. Fuck you. Call the police. Yep. Call the police. You gotta go. Call the police. You gotta go. Call the police. Fuck you. No. Call them. Nah. He can call the police. No, you're threatening the union even. No, close the door. No, I don't care. Call the police. Call the police. Call the police. Go. Call the police. Go. Call the police. Call the police. Please leave. No, call the police. Because you think I'm scared because I'm the police. Fuck you. That's cool. Call the police. Come on. No, call the police. You want to threaten me with police? Call them.
Call the cops. Just have them fucking I ask you to leave.
I don't care. Call them.
What the fuck?
Because I'm a union member. That's why.
You're still paying dues?
Yeah.
You paying union dues?
Keep talking, Pat. Keep talking, because I got nothing to do with you. Keep running your mouth. I'm not scared of the police. I'm not scared of them. Call the police. Call them.
Calm down, Money.
Nah, because I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. I had to deal with this shit with him, with Alan fucking Lee downstairs trying to do dumb shit. And then you want to say a threat? Nobody intimidated shit. What are you talking about?
You intimidated Alan, that's your part.
I didn't intimidate shit. You're not my friend. You're not my friend. I don't care. Like I said, I question. That's cool. Like you said, fuck me, Cruz. Like you said, fuck me. Yep. Call the police. Stop talking to me.
No, hold on.
Call the police.
Hold on.
Call the police.
You stood at that door swearing.
Call the police.
I took it to
Call the police.
I got to know.
Call the police.
Get out of here.
Like you said, fuck me, right? You said fuck. You said fuck a union member, right? That's what you said. That's what you said, right? I never said fuck you. I never disrespect you for none of that. It don't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter?
It don't.
What do you mean it doesn't matter?
It don't. Because I'm the one that's going through a fucked up process. That's cool. What you call me?
A little bitch.
A little who?
A little bitch.
Show me. Show me. Show me I'm a bitch. I'm sick and tired of this shit when it comes to you. Tired of this shit when it comes to you. Don't want to fucking call nobody. Don't want to do your fucking job. You want to say and talk shit to somebody's face. God, trying to call the police? Call them. Call them. I'd pay to fucking be here. Sick and tired of shit.
Yo, calm down, bro. Go in the lobby. Go in the lobby. Just have them check. All right, come on. Come on, man. Sit in the lobby, bro.
I want to speak to Evers. I want to speak to Billy Brandine. I want to speak to somebody. Fuck that. I'm not gonna have somebody say, "Hey, tell me fuck me," and I pay fucking union dues, intimidation, all that other bullshit. Got me fucked up.
So everyone, that was the video that you were watching. The video that you were watching was the experience which Armani went through, and we're going to just go a little bit deeper. And Armani, ask you one from black man to black man. You know, watching that now, reliving it. We shared that, you know, it's went sort of viral on TikTok. How are you doing in all of this from a mental health standpoint? And you know, I know we gotta, you know, I'm good, whatever, but we move in the mental health space in the Java Cafe, and sir, so I would be not my authentic self if I didn't check in and like, how are you doing?
Mentally, I'm not gonna, like, it's just, it's expected. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that is
yeah,
something you're constantly, like, what I have dealt with at the MBTA. So like when I sit back and I look at the video and I'm like, I let myself get out of character, it's like I should have went in there with the exception. Like, this is normal behavior. This is normal culture at the MBTA. That's why, like, you see like a lot of people leaving the MBTA. It's not like how it was back in the day where people are staying on. It's a job that people want to be at. It's a stressful environment. And then you have these representatives who represent you, who are getting elected into these positions. It's not because they have the experience. It's because this person's been here a certain amount of time and, oh, I work with this person for this many years, but that doesn't mean that person's a fighter. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that person's going to fight for you.
Okay.
They're doing it because they're trying to boost up their pension. That's what it's about. It's about money with them. They don't have the best interest of their employees, even though they'll sit here and tell you that. They play off the ignorance of their employees and what you don't know. So, and then there's also tension between me and him, because since I've been at the MBTA, I hold them accountable, because when things don't go the way that the team wants it to go, I'm held accountable. So I always looked at it like, if I'm paying into something or if I'm paying for something, I'm paying for a service. So that's how I always looked at it. And that's why I always held them accountable. So, and then I ran against Cruz 3 years ago, which it was like it was crazy at that time. There was a lot of attention because that place has never seen so many Black people running for elective positions. And there was a trip to Vegas where it was at least 15 of us that came out of Cabot Bus Garage, which was unheard of. And it started like a race tension, like, you know, why is there so many people coming out of one garage? And this garage was predominantly Black. So you had 15 Black people get elected to go to Las Vegas to represent the Carmen's Union. And then when we came back, I ran against Cruz, which also caused tensions because we both were running from the positions. You know, Marcus Taylor had tensions. My boy Anthony Lucas, it had tensions. Like, it was just a flat out like race thing. Like, it got real crazy. It was real tensions. It divided a lot of people because people were like, oh, why are you voting for this person? Why are you voting for that person? And then experience came into it. And then it's like, well, nobody has experience. You know what I mean? Like, you only get experience when you get into these positions. They don't have it, but that's what they try to use to get the leg up on people. But it's like, you know, and like, I got to keep showing appreciation to my boy Marcus. Like, when I first came onto the T, I used to see things, and I used to tell Marcus, like, I used to go to union meetings, because a lot of people don't go to union meetings because they lost faith in the union. Okay. And then when I started going to union meetings, I was seeing how, like, you got the same 30, 40 people showing up, and they're making decisions for a workforce of 5,000 people. So then, you know, I went to Marcus one day, somebody that I didn't trust it, and somebody that I saw drive and determination. I'm like, you know, bro, you need to start going to union meetings. So he went to a union meeting one day and he saw what was going on. And that's what made him get more involved. Yep. I don't like the spotlight. I don't care for the spotlight. I'm not a spotlight type of person. I like to be behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
But when Marcus took that initiative, I just took a step back, and we did a lot of things. Like I said, we brought a lot of things to the MBTA that I don't think that we get recognition for. You know, we brought a social media platform, the Frontline Movement, that we took the information that we learned from the union and what we learned from the T, and then we put it on Facebook so that the members can get it, because the members were saying that they was unaware of what was going on at the MBTA, and they wasn't hearing this information, they wasn't hearing that information. I think that Marcus really did that he didn't get a lot of credit for was that operators wasn't getting paid properly. So I remember sitting down with Marcus in his living room, and we're on the internet, we're searching Martha Haley's office to try to find out what we can do for resolution for fair wages and things like that, because like I said, again, people wasn't getting paid properly. And he came up with something, presented it to the union. Of course, the union took what they got from him, filed it. They got the employees money, but never gave Marcus a credit, because that's the person that actually did the research and brought the issues to them. And then it's a lot.
I definitely understand. And I just want to, as I told you in the pre-convo while we were getting ready to come on, I am not a journalist, but in my authentic self, I just want to name that where names are named and entities we have not spoke with. And so Armani is sharing from his experience. And I just want to put that out there. And that's not putting any disparaging things on you. I'm in between, community, and then people are saying, oh, you're a journalist or whatever. And so I just really, in all seriousness, wanted to name that. Secondly, I'm definitely aware of Marcus's advocacy. When I was taking the T, I ran into him around the time that y'all probably got started. Excuse me. And he was like, yo, I'm about to run for office on the T and the union, and I need some advice and support. And so we talked. And so he was the reason we got connected. So we just want to raise that and name that as well. And so let's go back a little bit, and where you can and are comfortable sharing, how did it get to this point to where you had to go? And I know you shared some things in your Facebook posts, but give us a little update or a little just overview of how it got to this point. What were you advocating for? And we'll check in after that.
So to get to this point, it's like I did it their way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're filing your grievances, you're making the phone calls, you're making the emails, and it's like, oh, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Those calls go unanswered. You email them. They'll respond back to you, but they don't keep true to their word. So what led up to this was I had a conversation with Cruz probably 2 weeks before the incident that occurred last Wednesday. And I called Cruz on the phone and I asked him about the Backpay, because the MBTA has resented their policy for the COVID-19.
So this isn't okay. So this is in reference, and I think I saw a little bit of this in your post. This is in reference to those that were getting vaccinated, not vaccinated. The state updated their decision. And just so everyone is clear and your story is out there and clear, you were either laid off or whatever, and then got called back.
So what happened was at first we was working through the pandemic with no shots, no vaccination policy, no nothing. Then the T was going to institute a policy, but they held off on the policy because they saw the numbers in the garage. A lot of people, like less than 50% of the garages were vaccinated.
Okay.
So if they would have instituted that policy, the system wouldn't move.
Okay.
So they held off on it, and that's when they started making threats as far as firing people and everything else like that to basically get what they want.
Okay.
So I back in October, I filled out my exemption form, and I put down religious because I have religious reasons why I don't want to get the shot. But give you a little. Let me just take a step back. So
you good?
I went for a different position. That's how it initially started. I went for a different position because I come from bus operations, and I put in an application for dispatch. So I put in for the application. I got called. I went for my interview. We had to wait again 2 weeks for them to get the results of interviewing everybody, and then they start the selection process. So I get a call that the emails are going out. Check my email. Nothing's coming out. I never got an email. So I eventually reached out to HR because that's a common thing where you'll fill out for something and you won't hear back from the HR department.
No acknowledgement. Do you at least get an acknowledgement email? Hey, Thank you for your application. This
No.
is
No. So you'll fill out and you won't even hear nothing. That's a common thing. You'll fill out and you will not hear nothing. So I reached out to HR with an email, you know, like, hey, listen, I interviewed on this day. I heard the emails went out. I never got to receive the email. They told me just, you know, watch my email. Emails will be coming. So I ended up getting an email that stated, thank you for applying, but you wasn't selected to go to the next step because you didn't score a sufficient score. So I wrote a grievance on it because I want to know what my score was.
okay.
And then for transparency, I want to know the score of other people.
Okay.
Because to my knowledge, what was being graded is we was told nothing was being graded. So I was trying to figure out what was being graded and how they scored it. So I put in a grievance on what my score was, what was we being graded on, because the only thing that we had to do was do a 2-point questionnaire, fill out and answer based off of how you answered the questionnaire, determine if you got an interview. So that's the only thing that I was aware of. So then when I put my grievance in with Cruz, it came back denied. It says that my grievance had no merit and that the MBTA has control over selection of candidates and, you know, the whole nine. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So then I rewrote my grievance, but this time I did an 8-page grievance because a person that denied my grievance, we have history, and I have filed discrimination and retaliation things against her.
Okay.
So it was a conflict of interest. So then I wrote an 8-page grievance, and this time in the 8-page grievance, I broke down the job description where it says like your overall job performance, and then it says that it goes back 2 years. But you already know you're not gonna unlook what you just sat here and saw on somebody's personnel file. So that becomes discrimination. If you're gonna go back 2 years, then you need to go back 2 years and not look at somebody's entire personnel file. And then on top of that, I just went into like things that I encountered with this woman. I put 4 different people in it. So I put I don't want to say her name, but she's like the chief of my area. There's somebody above her, and then 2 supervisors, because I have issues with all 4 of the supervisors, and 2 of the people are on higher levels. So I was just basically letting my delegate know that the system is flawed.
Because of the what you're describing as a conflict of interest, because there was a past history where the person that made your decision about a current grievance, you actually had previously filed a grievance against a discrimination issue with the person that denied this grievance.
Yes.
Okay. And so what was your hope that that person would have recused themselves from making a decision on this current one because of the past involvement?
Yes.
Which I don't think is pretty much far-fetched, because if I felt that someone, whether it was substantiated or not, for the appearance, for whatever reason, I'll just say if it was me, I would have looked and say, even if I go, oh, here's this guy again, but I'm not dealing with this, even if it was that. And so I just want to name that. So basically, to kind of catch things up a little bit, there was a history from the grievance from you applying for the position.
Yeah. So
and you had another grievance in reference to Backpay, in reference to the vaccination.
No, so when the grievance, it became like a, so that's what I'm leading up to it, because when I put in,
I'm sorry.
When I put in an 8-page grievance, it cited like being called out on social media by supervisors and things like that. And then when you bring it to the higher ups and you're like, hey, listen, this person is in charge of my file, this person's in charge of my information, and they're putting me on Facebook. And there's no discipline behind it. Rather, it was advice what not to say on social media to offend somebody. And it's like, you're not offending me, you're disrespecting me. And you're doing it in a management level. And there's no discipline that follows behind it. But here it is, if I was as an operator, I called out somebody in higher authority, it'll be consequences for me. I could lose my job behind that. Yep. But the thing wasn't for this person. So that's what the 8-page grievance was about. And Cruz didn't even want to fight that, because he was telling me that I couldn't grieve a grievance. And I'm like, it's a denial that I can grieve that. So
I'm sure there's an appeal process or whatever. I would presume there is.
I was being told that it wasn't, but they still did it anyway. They still processed the grievance if that's what they said they did. I wouldn't know, because you really wouldn't know. You process a lot of grievance and you don't hear nothing back. You don't know where you stand or anything else like that. So
okay.
So
you have a history of that grievance, and then how do we get to the present one where this situation happened?
So that's like with the retest. So after I put in the grievance, that's when they came after me for the vaccine. Because prior to that, they wasn't messing with me. So once I did that, they came after me the next following year, because I put that in October. That's when they came after me the next year, and it was like, "Oh, Marsman, you don't have your vaccination." And I was like, "Well, I put in my exemption form like everybody else." And they're like, "Well, we don't have it." And I'm like, "Well, I got receipts of it because this was set up online. You guys did this through email. I got an email, electric receipt that you guys received it." So. And I already, I was prepared for the consequences that came with it, because I didn't even want the shot to begin with. So as we was going through the process, and the T made sure they stayed on point. So like, it's like, I don't know if I had a star next to my name or they had me in the system, but whenever those deadlines would come, I was getting ready to pull back in the office. So then I ended up getting to a 5-day suspension, which, you're on a 5-day and you're suspended without pay. So when I was out for that 5-day, I made a phone call to Cruz, and I'm like, "Hey, listen, I don't understand why I'm being disciplined. I follow their guidelines. I don't know where I stand as far as was my exemption denied or approved. I don't know, but I submitted it." And he told me like, "Hey, well, I can't do nothing for you because you're on the last step." So at that point, that's when I started absorbing my sick time, my vacation time. And I was like, because I'm about to get fired anyway, so I might as well just use all my time. So then I made an appointment, and I was supposed they sent me a come in. They basically ordered me in. I didn't go to the ordering.
Now, is this into the union or into the T? Because the T. Okay. So this is the job versus the union. Okay.
To deal with the discipline.
Okay.
So I didn't go to the order in because I had prior engagements. So on the paperwork that they sent you, it's like, this is going to go on regardless if you show up or not, basically terminating you, whether you're going to go on or not. So when I didn't go in there on the ordering, I was like, okay, well, I'm getting fired anyway because I got something to do. And I reached out to the T and I said, "Hey, listen, I got something going on. In the paperwork, it says that y'all going to do what you need to do anyway. So, I'll just wait for the termination letter in the mail." The termination letter never came. So when I sent the email to my supervisor and I said, "Hey, listen, you guys say you're going to terminate me. I still have yet to receive the paperwork." She was like, "Well, I'm not going to fire you through the mail. So just make an appointment with me to come in and we'll talk." So when I got ordered into the back office, I made an appointment in June, went there in June, sat down with her. And, she was asking me like about my mental health and everything else like that, what was going on. And she was like, "Did you get the shots?" I said, "No." She said, "Did you get an exemption?" I'm like, I've been told you I filled out the paperwork and I don't know where I stand. Just like you don't know where I stand. I don't know because there's no number for us to call. There's nobody to reach out to. So she was like, I hope this is one of those, you just want the summer off, because at the next step is a 60 days pending discharge. So she was like, "I hope this is one of those, you want the summer off and you come back at the end of the summer." So I'm like, you think that I'm willing to get disciplined all the way up to get a shot just to come because I want the summer off? Like, no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm dead serious. I'm not getting a shot, and I filled out the exemption like everybody else. So she was like, "Well, there's nothing more that I can do for you, unfortunately, because you're not in compliance with the COVID policy." And, that's the end of it.
So there was a COVID policy between the time that it was involuntary, and you talked about, 50% of the people in the what do you call it? Yards in the state. What is it called? Yards.
Yeah.
The people in the bus yards. Since that point, a policy was implemented that they wanted employees to be vaccinated. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So I waited my 60 days. My 60 days out, and thank God I had money saved up, so that, to get by. And then as the time went on, I started trying to pull my money out from my 401ks and my pension. And that's when I found out that they had me in the system as on leave with pay, but I wasn't being paid and I wasn't on leave. So every time that I try to pull out my money or I try to do something, try to get some type of service, because you can't file for unemployment when you're in the system. You can't apply for your health benefits because you're on the system. So each time I reach out to payroll and HR, they're like, well, we don't have you as terminated. So this went on all the way up until where you see right now. So for the past 7 months, I've been in the system as on leave with pay and I'm not being paid. But then I can't get services because you got me in the system. So it's like, which one is it?
Keep going. That was a sign of what's going on in my head, because something's not, it's not connecting, but go ahead.
So that's when I reached out to Cruz 2 weeks prior to the incident. And I'm like, I got a phone call that the T rescinded the policy, what's going on? And that's when he told me, like, well, they did rescind the policy, but I don't remember you putting in a grievance for your 60 days pending discharge. And I was like, at the time, I was like, well, you told me when I called you on the 5-day that you couldn't do nothing for me. So I'm not going to put in a grievance when you're basically telling me you can't do nothing for me.
Okay.
But I did put in a grievance for the 5 days saying that I was in compliance with the policy.
Okay. So
moving forward, he's like, well, we have agreed that the only people that we're going to fight for is people that put in grievances. And I was like, well, that doesn't make no sense, because if a policy got rescinded, anybody that got fired for that vaccination or anybody that's faced any type of discipline fire, you need to fight for them.
As the union, I'd agree.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't,
the other issue of isn't there another issue that they would advocate for you because of what happened with personnel and your status? Or is it all together? Because if the T had you in a out with pay status and they were wrong, and this has impacted your income, your livelihood, wouldn't the union also tuck that into, wouldn't they advocate for you for that as well?
You would think that they would. You would think.
Yep.
So that's like when the conversation came, and then I was telling them, like, well, he was like, well, they want to bring you back, but they don't want to give you back pay. And I'm like, so they starved me the last 7 months. You had me in the system as on leave with pay, and I wasn't being paid. You want to give me my job back because you wrongfully terminated me in the first place. And he's like, why do you keep saying that you was wrongfully terminated? And I said, because if I did your process and I put in an exemption form and you're acting like you didn't receive it, but I have an electric email that if I also go to court, it will hold up that you can't sit here and say that you didn't get it when I got an email confirmation. He was like, well, you can do whatever you want, but they're not going to back pay you. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I'll just go, talk to a lawyer. He's like, you know what, you can do whatever you want. You're not going to win. And that's how my union rep's talking to me. So that's when I started writing my president. I wrote my vice president. The calls go unturned. My president, his father just passed. So, I gave him time to grieve, I'm saying? I have respect for that. But then, I text him, or I'll call you back. I'm on a Zoom meeting, so it goes unanswered. So it comes one of those where now I got to catch you. So that's why I went to the union hall that morning, because I'm like, let me try to catch them in the office before the business meetings start taking place, or you got to leave the office. So when I went upstairs, I was greeted by Bradley. That's the one that called the police on me, who you saw at the end with the glasses, who said, yeah, I called the police. And Rudy, the other black guy that was walking me to the couch, like, hey, Monty, let's go to the couch. So I asked them, was my president there? They said no. I said, was the vice president there? They was like, no. But they was like, Cruz is in the back. And, at the end of the day, I got to deal with him. You know what I'm saying? So I can be professional. So that's when I took a trip to the back office where he was. And then I stayed in the doorway because I didn't want to be completely in the office. So I stayed in the doorway, and I'm talking to him through the doorway. So then he was like, what's going on, Marsman? I said, nothing. Like, what's going on? So he's like, well, 8 people were fired for the vaccination. And there's one guy, he said that he didn't put in a grievance at all. So he's SOL. because we can't do nothing for him, and he pulled his money out the pension. So I was like, well, you already know how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a grievance should have went in for anybody that got fired for the vaccine, but that's just my opinion. So then we get back to the numbers. So I asked him, I said, okay, so if you could tell me 8 people got fired, how many people got the shot? Because you got to have records of it. How many people didn't get the shot? Because you need to have records of that too. And how many people got exemptions?
That's what I was going to ask too.
So when I'm asking him these questions, it's like you're just shrugging me off. Like you have this careless attitude. But it's like out of a workforce of 5,000 people, only 8 people got fired for the shot. That doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up, especially at the MBTA. It doesn't add up because a lot of people, they stay in their grounds. If they're not going to do something, they're not going to do it. So when I was asking him, I'm like, so he's like, oh, I don't know. He just brushed it off. So then that's when we got into it we moved on to the next topic, and I asked him like, okay, so explain to me how you lost my grievance. And I'm not talking about the physical copy, but you lost the fight. But he was like, well, I went up the chain of command, and it got denied at labor, and the chief of the area denied it too. So I'm like, I don't care how messed up this company is. There's no way that an employee writes an 8-page grievance citing discrimination, retaliation, and it doesn't go nowhere. So he's like, well, I did my job, just basically again, brushing it off. So I said, why didn't the union push it to the GM? Because in my grievance, I'm telling you that the system is flawed. I put screenshots of me being called out on Facebook. How did it then go to the GM? Well, it's not going to go to the GM because, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, there's no fight. There's no nothing. It's like, well, I did this. I did the bare minimum, and that's where it's at. So I'm like, okay, in my grievance, who's the first person in the first paragraph? And he said the person's name. And I said, okay, now if I have her in my grievance of 8 pages and I'm citing discrimination, retaliation, me writing this woman up to diversity, how do you give her my paper? He's like, well, it has to go through her. So I said, well, that's a conflict of interest because
that's what it sounds like to me.
I can't go through a person who I'm writing up.
That you feel has already discriminated against you, so you don't feel that you're going to get a fair, equitable consideration of your grievance.
So that's when he was just like, well, it has to go through her, just basically no fight.
Ask you this. Yep. Is she the only one in her position on that level? Is there anybody that she could have referred to?
It could have. So the person, it could have went to her, but the very next person who's supposed to go was also in my grievance because when Marcus Taylor brought it up that we was being called out on social media, she advised that particular supervisor what not to say on Facebook instead of disciplining him. So
right, I just want to be clear on one thing. So in those 2 positions, are they the only one at their levels? Was there, let's say there was somebody had A through M and somebody had N through Z. Like, were they the only one in that?
No, they can go to other people, but they just choose not to.
What you're saying, I just wanted to be clear because I believe that they would, even if it was from an attitude, I want to deal with this dude, but on the right reason, I need to recuse myself because this person feels that I've discriminated against them, and so I'm not even going to be involved.
Yeah, they can remove themselves, but they choose not to.
Okay.
So yeah, it's crazy. So then that's how it goes on. And then, and I say the crews at that point, I'm just like, this is the second time I hadn't heard this from like multiple people where you sat here and you said, well, I did my job and that's that. But prior to that, he told me like, if you feel like you're being retaliated against and you feel like it's discrimination, then you need to go get an attorney and take it outside of the MBTA. So I'm like, okay, so what are y'all here for? Because basically what you're telling me is that you guys are allowing discrimination, retaliation, and everything else to go on in the workplace because I'm bringing this issue to you and you're telling me that I got to go hire my own attorney and bring it outside the T. So then that's when I was just like, you know what, Cruz, you're a real piece of work. And then he was like, well, you're entitled to your opinion. Not everybody feels like that. And I was like, well, I'm here to tell you, a lot of people feel like that, but they don't got the heart or the balls to tell you to your face. So that's once I said that, that's when he backed up out the chair. You seen him bang on the desk, get the F out of my office. I'm tired of your shit. That's when you seen him, like, because I'm spinning in the doorway. So he breezes past me and he's like, let's go, get the fuck out of my office, call the police. So that's when you see him go in the hallway, and that's what leads up to the video. And you see them blowing off, and then you see the other union rep holding the door open, like, "Hey, Marsman, you need to leave." It was like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going to, because this is when he brought up, I don't know if he was paying attention when he said Alan Lee. So I had the same situation with Alan Lee where I got disciplined for a shooting, where it went on my attendance. I was out on leave for a shooting, and I got disciplined, and I lost out on 3 positions behind it. So then when I was fighting the same way, they just have this careless attitude. It's just careless.
Hold on. You're not just going to sit here and casually
Go ahead.
out on a shooting.
Yeah. So
You got shot.
No, I didn't get shot.
Oh,
The shooting happened around my bus.
okay.
So I went out on stress. And while I was out on stress, I got disciplined behind the shooting. So yeah, you're looking real puzzled.
I consider myself to be a pretty intellectual, sort of smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say often, some things have to go through what I call a James filter.
Mm-hmm.
But once it gets through, I get it. This thing, the sifting of trying to process this and sift this through my brain to make some of what, and again, in all fairness, by your experience, that's what we're talking today, your experience, which is valid in everything. It's some of the stuff is just not clicking in what I know and I've been in a union, in what I know of what these, because my understanding is unions were founded in advocacy and rights for the workers. And I'll ask you this one question and we can go on.
Yep.
At any point in this, would you say that you had any role in anything that happened? Let's just be authentic, because that was something that like crossed my mind. It just, was there anything, either getting upset, missed the deadline, freaking, I'm sorry. But is there any ownership that you want to cite or name that contributes to this? Because folks are watching. Mm-hmm. And you know, however things develop and where you have to go and advocate for yourself at different levels. They may pull this or whatever. And so is there anything that you can say that you contributed to it getting to this point?
I can take accountability, like I said, at the end of the day.
And you did say that in one of your, either in the video or I saw something about, one of the videos, you was like, you want me to be, I'm going to hold you accountable if you're going to hold me accountable. Yeah, that's right. That's why I heard
it. It's just like, a lot of situations, like I'm a stand-up guy. Anybody that knows me, I'm a stand-up guy. I stand 10 toes to the ground. You know what I'm saying? If I'm wrong, I can say that I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I'm gonna fight you to the death. That's just what it is. I'm gonna fight you to the death. So, and I think, people don't understand it, but it's like when you see me going off, exploding, that's built up.
Let's keep that 100 now. Let's talk black man to black man.
That's built up. It's built up frustration, because it's like, you go to work, you do what you're supposed to do. And like I said, the MBTA is a very
interesting.
It's a hostile environment. That's the best way that I can put it. It's a hostile environment. People might sit here and try to sugarcoat it, because a lot of people, and I always feel like, when I have a conversation with my my fellow coworkers, it's like, where can you go and make this type of money? And it's like, this money's not everything.
Yeah. Facts.
And I think the biggest misconception is that, people don't understand like, as a bus operator, what you go through. You go through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go through a lot. You go through the physical abuse. You go through the mental abuse. You know what I'm saying? When you're on that bus, it's a lot to deal with. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with the passengers. You're watching these cars. You got the cameras on you, which the cameras were supposed to be, to scan what was going on, because that's the whole thing behind the marathon bombing. So that's why the cameras, but there's like, those cameras was on you, and like any little thing that you do, you look at somebody the wrong way, you getting pulled in the back office, you spit, you know what I'm saying? And then you got Twitter and all these other programs. So it's a very stressful environment. And then, you know, you have these union representations, and it's just like you reach out to them and it's just like, oh, I'll get back to you. And they don't get back to you. And then the only time you see them is when it's time for elections. You know what I'm saying? Or that's when they're in your face.
Some of this, first of all, let me say that some of this hierarchy, lack of equity, only come around during elections. Another piece I want to name for the union members that don't go to the meetings. I often talk about voting stuff, and residents got to go out and be informed. And so there's a lot of there's some things here that are away from just the tea, because we're coming down to just about 10 o'clock, and I want to leave a lot of space. And my aunt is in the room. I got a sister, an uncle, and a few folks that used to drive for the tea. What would make you whole, Armani? What would make you whole?
You have to bring me back with Backpay, because like I said, I suffered. Like you try to starve me out, and that's a culture that is at the MBTA. That's a culture where the MBTA tries to starve you out until they get what they want, and then that's when they want to back pay you, whether it's injuries. You know, people get hurt on the daily basis, and you know it can be seen on camera, and the team's gonna deny the claim. You can get assaulted. They're gonna fight you to the tooth and nail. Like a lot of stuff ends up going to court, and it shouldn't have to, but it ends up going to court. And that to make me whole, like to be honest with you, these past 7 months, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
And you know, get into the argument with my union rep and everything else like that, and it questions whether do you really want to deal with that? Because a lot of people, especially young people, they're dying at the MBTA because of the stress, the aggravation, and everything else like that. It's a lot of people dying. You know what I mean? So it's a huge stress level that is like I don't think people really get it or understand it. So like to make me whole, I would honestly, you would have to back pay me to even think about it. If Backpay wasn't even in the conversation, I wouldn't even go back there. I would just go with the wrongful termination because I was wrongfully terminated. I have my paperwork and documents in order.
But wait, let me. I'm sorry. And folks that on here know when something hit, it just comes out. You have an electronic copy.
Yes.
That your exemption was received.
Yes.
So it's just not, I can't make it fit. So we know what will make you said what will make you whole is to go back and get back pay. What's the status of things since this incident? Has anyone reached out?
So I only heard from my vice president, and he only called me to clear his name and say that wasn't him on the phone. But as far as like he saw the video.
And has anyone from the union reached out to you in reference to I'm sorry? And let's just also name the police did come.
Yeah, they did.
Were you arrested?
No.
What happened when the police got hold on, because we can show the folks what happened. Hold on. No, I'm getting ready to talk trash. Sometimes Armani, my tech, I think this is the one where the police came. Is that the 422 one? I'm going to show a quicker one where the police came, because this kind of sums up kind of your stance and where things had calmed down.
Yeah, that's 422. Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to show a quick version of that.
What I've gathered is that everything's done here. They've worked it out, or like he's
gonna go to another level. So it's just like it's whatever for the union.
They're arguing with each other.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, I'm gonna call the cops." He says, "Well, fine, call the cops." But their business has concluded. So he was just waiting for us to get here.
Yeah, because I'm like, what am I running for? Like, don't threaten me with the police. Like, nobody threatened you. Like, you know.
But you don't mind leaving your business?
No, it's cool. It's just a simple fact of the matter. It's like, we'll get the police here. Like, yo, I'm not scared of the police. Like, I pay union dues.
So I because we don't. The things are very interesting, and it could have went another way depending on the officer, depending on, you know, the level at which your frustration was going up and down. So one, we just want to name and thank God that you're still here and not arrested. And then two, I just find it hard to believe that even what happened on social media, TikTok blew up, this is out there, that even if it was just from a place of saving face, no one's reached out to.
Nope.
So so what is your next step?
So that's why, like I said, because I like I said before I did it, I reached out to like, Marcus Taylor. I reached out to a couple of the guys that, like I said, when we was doing building up to where we was, informing people. I went back and I said, this is really bothering me, and I can't do it their way. I can't do it the grievance way, because they have showed me time and time again their system is flawed. They're going to show me that they can't fight for me. They're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I posted it on Facebook, so that it can bring awareness and attention to other people that are outside the MBTA and advocacy groups like yourself. And on TikTok, like you see, TikTok blew up. It's at 300,000 views. That video did 300,000 views. And I have other like unions reaching out, telling me, hey, listen, you need to do this, you need to do that.
So you got other unions advising you on how to handle your union.
Yeah, like everybody just keeps saying, get a lawyer, because your union rep, once your union rep calls you a B, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have a problem with it, because it's like, and not to make it a race thing, but it's like you're saying that I'm intimidating you. You're saying that I'm doing all this to you, and you're hiding behind people. You know what I'm saying? And you're calling me out my name and everything else like that, but you're doing it behind people. So that's why, like you said, I think it was funny when when the police came, because I think what the police were, and I don't know what was said on the phone. I was just sitting on the couch, and I just heard him, Bradley put the call on speaker, like he's dialing 911. He gave my description. He was saying what was going on.
That's intimidation. Let's
So, but it's like, so and I'm not arguing, I'm not going to sit here and yell. And that's what I thought by them calling the police and having me enraged, that when the police came through the door, you're going to see an enraged black man. Cause that's the thing that everybody runs with, is an angry black man and everything else like that. And then that's why it was just funny when they came through the door. Cause I had to make them realize, like, hey, listen, you guys can do this. You guys can go through this too, because you got a union.
I heard you.
You guys are in a union, and just because this person doesn't like what you say to them, it doesn't give them the right to pick up the phone and dial 911.
And I mean, that is some old Karen, Kevin, like, and again, I will own that I'm a black man. I will own that I'm very sensitive to this experience for you. I will own that it just is so disturbing and
yeah, but
and you're in it. So if I'm, bruh, first of all, okay, are you in therapy? There's two places that we gonna go right here that folks that know me. Are you in therapy?
My therapy is music. No. All jokes aside, my therapy is talking to people that know me. That's how I get it out. That's my therapy.
And which one of them people are trained with the master's level degree in some sort of psychology or psychiatry?
Your boy Marcus keeps me balanced. Marcus,
I know Marcus, and I love him, but Marcus ain't no damn clinician, Jesus. No, in all seriousness, because
I saw a counselor, and her recommendations were, and this is prior to it gotten to this point. This was back when, like I said, when I got disciplined for the shootings.
Yep.
I was telling her everything
Still,
that was going
that
on.
doesn't even make any sense, but go ahead.
And I got disciplined for the shooting, and I was telling her everything that I was enduring and everything that I was going through at the MBTA. And her recommendation was to leave. That was her recommendation, to leave.
Because for your mental health.
For mental health, it seems like it's a very toxic environment. So she was like, that's the recommendation I can give you. But she's like, I understand also, because your livelihood and things like that.
That's
so
real.
She's like, but that's one of my recommendations to you. But yeah, like how I've been dealing with it, like I said, is talking to people, interacting with people from TikTok. Because like I said, it's a lot of unions that are on that.
That's good for information, but when I'm asking about therapy and you say TikTok,
nah. But being from, like, because we both are from the hood, you know what I'm saying? So we really how we deal with it is like it's not healthy how we deal with it, but it's like
Say it again. So when you go back and watch this, sir, you said it to yourself. You say what?
Not healthy, but you know what I'm saying, because we're from the hood, it's like we'll get through it. You know what I'm saying? And we do that. And we do that by talking to people that you know, your loved ones and things like that, talking about the issue.
You right. And I put posts up all the time. Reach out to somebody, pastor, to a friend, or whatever. So I'm not going to push back on you too hard there. But Marcus, we're going to get this dude to at least go with one trained professional, because in all seriousness, what we encounter as Black men in this country, in this city, and it just. I'm very serious about the therapy piece, because talking to our friends and whatnot is cool and it is helpful, but getting with the brother maybe that is trained to really dig a little bit deeper just to make sure you're good. And to be very real and honest, that God forbid things get crazy and you holding stuff in and they'll talking to people, we'll follow up about it, because I got your number. So I can. The second thing is, I would not be my authentic self to just tell you to reconsider with what's going on in this new damn Omicron XXB variant that's out. Reconsider and think about that damn vax. Yes, I was a vax promoter, and not in the beginning, but I was, you know, I am you get healthier or you have less chances of becoming more and more sick, even though there's breakthrough cases and all of that. I would not be my authentic self to mess with you and be serious about reconsider that vax, bro.
No,
Was it you're around until you got kids?
No.
You got elders you're around?
No.
Or you just really trying to mess me up? Because I usually one of those two questions, I get, you know, go on to the next point. But in all seriousness, and let's keep it 100 with the, y'all know I can go a whole different level with the stress that you're dealing with, and God forbid you get exposed to COVID and you're dealing with stress and whatnot and don't have that buffer. I've
been exposed to it. You know what I'm saying? I've been exposed to COVID. I've been to have that. You want, and I had COVID. You know what I'm saying? And I got through it. You know what I'm saying? So
you want to have this conversation?
we can have the conversation. my mind chart would back up what I'm saying. Hey, Armani had COVID. He, you know, so he's a survivor of it.
Yeah, you. But. I'll handle that offline. But in all seriousness, sir, I really want to thank you for coming and being transparent. And again, I hate the reason as to why, but this is one of the reasons that this platform is out there, to bring attention to issues like this. And who knows what this will evolve for you as far as being able to help others. You said it would make you whole to get the back pay. But even out of that, if that happens, that would only happen by certain updated, edited, new implemented policies. And so there would be a long-standing impact from your experience. And so I just want to name that as well, that when sometimes you're sitting there like, what, you know, WTF, if this thing goes the way that we hope it does and turns out well for you. And again, being balanced, not talking to the Carmen's Union and all that other stuff. A policy would wind up being implemented that would go, with all due respect, beyond Mr. Marsman.
It needs to be a lot of changes, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like, a lot of people, you know, like you said, going back to like trying to stick up for myself, like a lot of people have a certain outlook on me, but it's like, I stand for what I stand for. I live in a time where there's right and there's wrong. You know what I'm saying? A right is a right and a wrong is a wrong.
Yeah. And my grandmother would say, right is right and wrong is wrong, and two wrongs ain't nobody. So,
you know, and that's what I stand for. So that, you know, at the end of the day, like you said, what would make me whole, that's because of what I had to endure these past 7 months. You know what I mean?
That's just you.
But my fight is above me. You know what I'm saying? It's never been about me. Even when I, you know, confided in Marcus and getting him on board and we, you know, doing what we're doing, it was never about us. It was about, if we're gonna be here, we need to make this place work for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing at the company is that it's not a problem until you go through it. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing.
On a lot of levels. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's
violence, homelessness, all of that. Yep.
So, you know, and that's what the main thing comes down to. And I think this is why a lot of these issues go ignored, because it's like, oh, well, that's not my problem. That's not my situation. So because it's not my problem, it's not my situation, I'll turn a blind eye to it. Or because I don't got to deal with it, that's your problem. And then it's like, okay, now when you get in this situation, now everybody wants to cry wolf. But it's like there was a whole bunch of people before you that went through the same situation. And you felt like because it wasn't you at that moment, or it wasn't you at that time,
priority.
It wasn't a priority.
And let's just name, and again, I'm really trying to be balanced. Let's name a population of the people can't, just because of life and just, you know, they're prioritizing their survival.
Yeah, because once you get on because the main thing, like when people get on the T is, you know, I think the presumption that everybody has is like, oh, the MBTA employees got it because they see the cars and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? But what people don't realize, what people don't understand, is those cars are parked 90% of the time. Because you give your life to the T. Like that's when you first come in and they tell you the MBTA comes first and everything else comes after. They mean it. They mean it.
It's really a whole culture. This, and I'll be very honest with you. I've had someone else, a female, reach out to me about some toxicity in the unions. And during COVID, I've had a couple of females reach out as well. And so there definitely is this swelling of wanting equity. And we know that there's some, you know, from back in the Frederick Douglass days and the Reconstruction movement and whatnot, we know that there's some of the older practices of our unions did not include people that look like you and I.
Oh yeah, no, they did.
Also, we they force silence and compliance. I just want to read a couple of comments in support. It's unfortunate, but it's the grim reality of a 589 operator. The blatant level of respect shown is one of the many tactics, or maybe he's saying the level of respect, maybe meaning none, is one of the many tactics to isolate the operator from vocalizing their rights. They force silence and compliance through manipulating tactics and violence. Oh shoot. This second week, this got me stuttering. Because I really am trying to process what to say, because some of this is really unfathomable. But as you started in the beginning, unfortunately for some of us, it's expected, or we should expect it, but we shouldn't, and we shouldn't tolerate it. And so I please keep us abreast. Armani, I'll be checking in with you. Please keep us abreast of what's going on. And if you get to a point where there needs to be advocacy and phone calls, just let us know, and we'll rally some folks to make some phone calls and shoot emails for you. One of the other things that my aunt mentioned it, but I would definitely reach out to whoever your state rep and your state senator is. Reach out to both of them, because you are essentially working for a state agency. The MBTA is a quasi-state agency, and so they should be able to have some influence. The other thing that I would consider, if no one's mentioned it to you, Google MCAD, the Massachusetts Commission Against.
They're backed up. I got an appointment. They're backed up.
COVID and that's real. Yeah, but get in that queue.
Oh, no, I already made an appointment. I already made that appointment. You know, that the appointment's definitely been made and things like that. But yeah, like, you know, I appreciate you for, like I said, reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity to get on here, because like I said, I'm not the only one that's going through it. It's a lot of people that's going through it. And, you know, I'll tell people, don't sit here and think because you see those pictures and everybody's smiling that things ain't going on. It's a lot of people that suffer at the T. It's a lot, you know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you, if you gave a lot of people the platform, people was given the platform to talk about their experiences, you'll be surprised at some of this. Like you saying here, looking confused, but this is like a thing that it goes on, man. It's real. It's real.
And to a population that got us through the pandemic, that gets people to work, that gets kids to school, that you know, that deals with shootings on the bus. I had a father on the other day whose daughter, I mean, this.
I saw the video. I saw it.
And you know,
and that guy right there in particular, like I would, like, you know, if I could talk to him, I would tell him, like, you know, he needs to. He really doesn't understand the policies. He doesn't know the procedures of the MBTA. I think the best
this
thing.
One, this one we gonna handle, and we'll talk about this in the background because that one, if it seeing someone getting assaulted, and I do have to balance that.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So the best thing for that woman that was driving that bus was to get that bus to the station, because if she didn't, if she would have called that in right at that moment, they would have told her to pull the bus over. Now they're both in harm's way because they're not contacting Boston police. They're contacting transit.
And Martinez did say that, but I want to leave that just because it's active with us now. But you know, but in the environment of the MBTA, this union, what they deal with as it's all inclusive of, we need to ensure that not only our riders and our drivers are safe when they're driving, but where is the opportunity that the union is working with the state that you all have what's called clinical supervision? You were involved with a shooting around your bus. Did the union or the MBTA offer you any sort of counseling that you saw the shooting or from your injury or whatever, or stress?
The woman who I had to go through, she made a comment when I was out, because the reason why I wrote her up is because when I was out and I got disciplined, she made a comment to my former UN rep: is he really hurt, or is he out because he witnessed something?
If you were hurt, shot by the Armani, get off my screen, because you about to get me in trouble. And Misha, EAP is good, and I'm trying to encourage the city too. EAP is good, but that's done on your time, and you have to reach out to EAP. But what processes are in place that you all, even away from incidents and shootings and sexual assault that go on in T, y'all probably need at least once a month some sort of group T driver check-in to just be able to vent, because like
I would take my own. My advice, they offer EAP, but it's a joke because it comes from the MBTA. So if you're gonna seek any type of mental health illness, you would want to talk to your healthcare professionals. EAP is a joke. It's
again, Armani, in all fairness, because there's somebody in EAP that thinks they're really helping and doing the good. I know some people probably there is at least a few people in EAP that have they're about it.
They'll tell you it's nothing they'll tell you. We can't do this, we can't do that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna do nothing for you. Your best option, like I said, is if you are like really seriously, truly going through something, you would want to go see your own medical professional, because
I definitely and we're talking specifically around behavioral health, mental health counseling. So Armani, man, Jesus, it's 10:12. We're a little bit over time, but I think I hopefully getting this out in this area is helpful to you. I know you got Marcus and everyone, but people are aware of your story and your situation, and it's unfortunate that you're dealing with this, but hopefully the long-term and legacy impact is that policies will be changed around how you all are treated, how the union endears and entreats its members, and not to call them out their name, not to intimidate them, not to go to the intimidating Karen type saying that you're intimidating. And so, sir, I appreciate you. Y'all in the comments, send this brother some love, some heart, some strength, and fist bumps or whatever. Because I know he's gonna go back and look, because I heard it in the background while we were. Man, I appreciate you, sir. And we're going to stay in contact and let me know how we can continue to be supportive. And folks are really, what does RAP stand for? Oh, EAP. RAP EAP, Rob, stands for Employee Assistance Program, and not just with the T, but across the board. That seems to be
mental health is not. But see, the thing about it, mental health, I feel like people think it's a joke. Like if you would have told me, like to be honest with you, like I learned mental health or mental awareness by driving the bus, because like I said, we deal with different people on a different basis. So you got the schizophrenics, you got the people that are bipolar, and this is the stuff that you deal with, and you would think it's a joke until you see it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, oh yeah, like mental health is real. it's
And not only for those that are dealing with mental illness, but maintenance of our mental wellness is no joke. And that's why I'm going to be in it. You make a therapist. I got a whole list from Pure Spark that we can send you a list, and you can go down and pick a therapist that specializes in different areas. And so you talk mental health, and we're going to be here till about 10:45. So, brother, I appreciate you, man. I want to go pay some bills. And I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch. Thank you for your transparency, and we send strength and more courage your way. And again, you know, sorry that you had to deal with this. Even in the moment, I can't imagine what I would be feeling. Oh, I know what I would be feeling. It would be fear. It would be pissed. It would be really, you know. So we send strength your way, sir, and positive vibes all your way.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, brother. We'll be in touch.
All right, fam.
Thank you, Armani.
Yep.
Folks, those revelations. I got a headache. My chest popped a couple of times. It just the internalization of a lot of what we deal with as Black men, you all as Black women and queens. Don't add the added layer of being gay. It's so much, and this is why we often talk and push the importance of mental health, addressing mental illness and maintaining and proactively maintaining our mental wellness. And so thank you all for joining today. This is one where I'm tired, because to hear what this brother had to endure is just crazy. I thought anxiety was for the weak-minded until life decided to show me, and I ended up with it. Absolutely, Rob. Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in today. Today is Thursday, our last session for the week. We will be back with you on Monday at 9 a.m. As you all know, earlier this week, we were to chat with my good friend and brother, ST Bullock, who has started the Good Grief. Okay, why isn't this opening? Come on, people. Why isn't this opening? Who started the Good Grief project. Oh, that's why I'm in the wrong thing. Video. Okay. Who started the Good Grief project to talk about grief through a music sort of therapy approach with the lyrics and whatnot. And so he'll share with you why he wasn't here last Monday. I was worried something was wrong, but we'll chat about that for about 10 seconds on this Monday. But this Monday at 9 a.m., ST will be with us. I believe Dr. Brandy is going to come in as well. I had to bump him to Monday because on Tuesday, we're going to be speaking with the Massachusetts Probation Department about how you can, I don't have the email up and ready, but they're going to talk to us about a lot of changes and how you, if you're on probation, some of your rights and some things that are available to you from the office. All right. And that's on Tuesday. On Wednesday, the 11th, what did I book for Wednesday? I'm doing this by memory, y'all. On Wednesday, the 11th. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can get King Boston. And then on the 12th, we have our governor, Maura Healey, who probably right now, or I believe noon per the state charter or whatever, state constitution, is getting inaugurated as our governor today, probably in less than 2 hours. I'm not going. So yes, that's our lineup for next week. I think that is it. Yeah, that's it for me this week. So we'll see you guys Monday at 9 a.m. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and we shall talk to you on Monday at 9 a.m. Peace.